Hey, what's up, guys? We're back with episode 2. Episode 2 of Honorable Mentions coming at you. We got a very special week coming at you. It's our first week with a weekly guest ever on the podcast from now on. Every episode from here on out is going to have one or two guests. Has a good interest and relation to the topic for that week. We dropped the upcoming schedule of the next 5 weeks with the topics and the guests on our Insta and on our Twitter. So if you don't follow it, follow it. And other than that, shout out to everyone that tuned in to episode 1. We're creeping up on 200 views for only episode 1. It was a little test run. And we're not even on the new official platform we'll be using yet till next week. So here we go. Topic for today: top 5 women singers and top 10 NBA point guard or guard and big man duos. Not this season, but all time. So top 10 NBA guard and big man duos and top 5 women singers. So I'm going to go first and rank them. Then our guest, Sean Melcher, for those who know him, P-Man's on this week. You guys know he loves music and he also loves basketball. Knows a lot about both. So he's going to hit it this week with us. And then Riley's going to clean it up and go third. And then that's going to be episode 2 in the books. So let's get right into it, baby. Top 5 women singers. This one was cool for me. I don't listen to a lot of women singers, honestly. But I do like some throwbacks and some classic women singers and a few women rappers that I have on the list. So, it was definitely a fun topic to do. Something other than sports. And so here we go. Number 5. Number 5, I got Adele. Some of her songs might be cheesy. Some of her some people might not put her in her top 5. But no one could argue that she is not a good singer. When she hits those crazy notes, it's just nuts. Number 4, Young Ma. Young M.A., Young Ma, whatever you want to call her. I am a big fan. A bunch of my boys from school are big fans. She just has bars. She's just a savage. There's something crazy about just some woman rapper talking about stealing your bitch and fucking her right in your face. It's just her lyrics, her flow, a lot of the beats that she raps over. Everything about her I just think is real tough. Number 3 is my other woman rapper on the list. There's only 2. I am a huge fan of 070 Shake, and she's going to be my 3 seed. She is just so hard. Everything about her style, her sound, her vibe, just everything. Her songs, the freestyle, this is the first one I ever heard of her way back in the day, probably 6 or 7 years ago or 5 years ago, whenever it came out. 070 freestyle on SoundCloud and YouTube. Only thing you can listen to it on. And it was just 8 minutes of the whole group going in. But her first voice, the main 070 Shake, her verse on the first part of that freestyle, oh my God. It's like an anthem. Number 2, she's just awesome. She was my first crush. She was the first time I thought girls didn't have cooties. Carrie Underwood. Carrie Underwood's my 2 seed. Crazy. I mean, I'm not a huge woman country guy in general. I do like some country singers, but usually they're dudes. So for her to be on the list is cool. She's definitely one of my top 5. And then number 1 seed for me, this was the easiest on the list. This was the easiest decision probably in the first 2 episodes combined for me. Unanimous, hands down. Even if you don't have her at number 1, she should be in everyone's top 3 or at least top 5. Rihanna. She is just a complete vibe. The way she bounced back from the whole Chris Brown incident and killed it. The way she started out when she was 17 or 18 getting signed and just killing it. The whole Umbrella album with Rehab and Umbrella and all those. And then she had all her features with Eminem, Love the Way You Lie, all those. She's just got crazy songs and a crazy vibe about her. And she's just a woman crush to half the guys I know. So that's my 1 seed. And to close it off, honorable mentions, I put 2. I got Madonna and Alicia Keys. Keep it short for honorable mention. They're both just iconic and talented. And they both kill the game and are great at what they do. Next, I'm going to go into my longer part of the segment for me. And it's going to be a little bit more detailed with my reasoning. But here is my top 10 NBA duos, guards and big men of all time. Okay. Number 10, Penny Hardaway, Shaquille O'Neal. Penny Hardaway and Shaq, a lot of people wouldn't have on the list. My dad was telling me not to. He wanted Willis Reed on it. Shout out my dad, though. Charlie Blecker, the man. He's the dude. He really wanted Reed on the list. And I was like, thinking about it, but I'll shout him out. But Penny and Shaq is my 10. My 9 seed, another debatable one. I don't think they might be on either one of Melcher or Riley's list, but that's okay. I get the argument that they did not win a championship, or they choked in the playoffs, or one of them was bad for the locker room. But Russell Westbrook and KD, Kevin Durant, is such a sick duo, bro. I just can't even, it's mind-blowing how crazy it is that you could have such a dominant and athletic point guard with such a versatile and athletic big man. You could argue he's not even a big man because he could handle the ball and shoot, but he's also 7 foot tall and could take you in the post any day of the week. That's my 9 seed. My 8 seed is, I was debating it. I wanted to put Steve Nash with them, but Nash is somewhere else in this conversation for me. So I put Jason Kidd and Dirk. I love Dirk. Everyone loves Dirk. He's the ultimate white boy basketball player. He's the man. What is he in his 30 millionth season in the league, dude? He is awesome. Everything about him is sick. And Jason Kidd's just an icon, too. He's awesome. And that's my 8 seed. So now here's where it got pretty tricky for me. 7-1 was hard. Very hard. Me and Sean Melcher sat on the FaceTime for a while earlier. Just debating. Not even debating, just discussing, like, damn. 1 through 6 or 1 through 7 or whatever, top 5, it's tricky. You could just rearrange them in any order. You feel like you're missing guys. You feel like whatever. But here we go. My 7 seed, Kobe Bryant and Pau Gasol. Kobe's played with a lot of dominant players, and I wouldn't necessarily say Pau is dominant, but I think he's definitely a Hall of Famer in my eyes. I think they have great success. They were a winning program. They were a very successful organization all around, and them two were the core of that. And that's why I think I needed to put them somewhere in this conversation, so I kind of put them on the lower half, but Kobe and Pau. Number 6, McHale and Larry Legend. McHale and Bird are an awesome combo, too. And I just think I didn't know too much about them just from watching highlights. I never got to grow up watching them like I did with Russell Westbrook and KD or Dirk or Kobe and Pau type of thing. But just as a basketball fan and basketball player in my day, you know Larry Bird and you know McHale, and you've seen clips of them playing together way back in the day, and they're just an awesome duo in my eyes. So here we go where it gets real tricky. Number 5, I put Oscar Robertson and Kareem. Oscar Robertson and Kareem are just unarguably top 10 at least. They are both Hall of Famers. They are both just talented overall freaks at what they did, and they were a very good combination of guard and big man. Number 4, this, even though I have them at 4 and not 1, this might be my favorite duo on the list, but Tony Parker and Tim Duncan. Man, to be able to see them in my lifespan even when the NBA's had a lot of rough years in the recent years growing up, and everyone says it's not like it used to be, they are such a bright spot in that conversation. They've been together. How many seasons did they play together? At least between 14 and 18 seasons. What is it? At least 12 or 13 seasons. All winning seasons. I'm pretty sure all playoff seasons. They have championships. They have made young guys and took young guys under their wing and turned them into great players. They play with Manu. The whole culture of that dynasty is unbelievable. And that's why they're my 4 seed. Then we go to 3. I think it's one of the most iconic duos of all time. I think it's definitely top 3 or definitely top 5 in almost everyone's book. And that's Stockton Malone. I'm going to leave it pretty simple. The Mailman, one of the most iconic nicknames in all of sports. And he can't deliver the mail without the man, Stockton, handing him that mail to deliver. Stockton supplied the mail for the Mailman. Number 2, Magic and Kareem. Magic, probably the most versatile and one of the most dominant point guards of all time, mixed with one of the best basketball players ever combined. They were just winning, successful duo on a great team in a great era of basketball, and they both could just do so much on the court, and they were just virtually unstoppable for so many teams in the league. I really wish I was around back then to see it firsthand. And here's the 1 seed, R.I.P., Mamba, Kobe Bryant, and Shaquille O'Neal. Shaq is arguably the most dominant player at all time at that position. Posting up, backing you down. Yeah, I can't shoot a free throw, but I'm going to drop 30 on you by just backing your big men down and making them feel small. Kobe, don't even have to talk about him. The man was a legend. Besides the basketball, he speaks millions of languages. He writes books. He studies this and that. The guy was a wizard. His jump shot, his fadeaway, his handles, his defense, his mentality. That duo is my 1 seed, hands down. And then my honorable mentions, I got 2 of them. Real quick, D-Wade and Shaq. I mean, D-Wade is one of my favorite players of all time in general. And I think it was awesome to see him with a true big man like Shaq going to Miami and joining him there during the prime of his career. In D-Wade's prime, I meant. So, I just really like that duo. And then, really awesome duo in my opinion too, Nash and Amari. Man, Nash and Amari Stoudemire are just a cool throwback. Still kind of our time, but still we were real young. But they were very... that was when Amari's prime. That was when he was dominant before he blew it on the Knicks. Like, he was such a force back then in the league. And he had Nash, just a Hall of Fame point guard, doing it for him. That's my honorable mentions. Shout out. Now let Melcher and Riley tell you theirs. And we'll see what's good next week. Catch you guys.
What's poppin'? It's Riley coming at you. Episode number 2. I got top 4 female singers for you. And my top 5 point guard center duos in the NBA. All right. Go ahead and get going real quick here. Lana Del Rey at 4. Best songs did come out in 2011, 2012. But that doesn't take away from the talent that she has as an artist. She has an incredible voice, and it's very just calming to me. Very calming, and that's why she's in my top 4. Number 3, my first concert ever. She's a dang singer. I fell in love with her on Disney Channel, watching her. Like, oh, 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 it's magic. She's just dang. No, she is, though. And just, yeah, Selena Gomez is very hot, too. Number 3. Number 2, she's been putting out hits for years. She hasn't slowed down, missed a beat, really. Really good features. She can make any song better. Rihanna, beautiful woman as well. But Where Have You Been and Take Care with Drake, like, those are just 2 songs I have in mind that are just outstanding. Good, great vocals. They make them. And a very sleeperish pick at number 1, I do have Sia. Sia at Chandelier, Titanium, Cheap Thrills are all bangers. That girl is not the prettiest out there, but she has the best voice out there. And I don't care what you have to say. She's not putting out as many songs as Rihanna is, or that many hits or anything, but she has the best voice. Honorable mention, her name is Brittany Howard. Maybe never heard of her. She's the lead singer of Alabama Shakes, and she has a powerful, just beautiful voice that is very unique, and it gets my honorable mention. Give her a shout out. Check her out on Alabama Shakes. I think she does her own solo stuff now. I don't know. I think their band might be disbanded, but please go give her a check out as well. All right. Top 10 NBA point guard and center forward duos all time. First 3 on my list, 8 through 10, all have the same player involved. That's for a good reason, and you're going to see this next year. Russell Westbrook, he hasn't been the same since he lost KD, and they're at number 10. But they were a dynamic duo together. Westbrook seemed like he needed that other guy to help him succeed. Get to the finals. Number 9, Kyrie and KD. I'm looking forward to what they can put together next year. Just want to see them play, both be healthy. I'm looking forward to that. KD is a high caliber player, and Kyrie Irving has proven it, but I want to see him out of injury, yeah, for sure. And number 8, Curry and KD. That fucking team was a bunch of fucking studs. They had Clay on there too, but Curry and KD, that was a superstar team. They could beat LeBron and AD right now in LA if those 3 guys were still together. Draymond Green, Iguodala. You don't even need them all. Those 3 together, the sole ones, they can get that shit done. At number 7, getting the real deal here. Real deal. Kobe Bryant and Paul Gasol. Kobe's one of the greatest players to ever walk on the earth, and Paul Gasol was the second best center to play with him, but Paul Gasol was also gas, and they got it done out in LA. At 6, I got Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki. Just athletes. They got it done every day. Put in that work. Hall of Famers. Number 5, Tim Duncan and Tony Parker. Tony Parker had a really high IQ out there for the Spurs, and Tim Duncan was just an athlete, getting boards out his ass, just bringing down everything, making plays for his team. Crazy. And number 4, John Stockton. Crazy dynamic athlete, crazy handles. Karl Malone playing big guy for him. Just very good. Number 3 is our last. Kobe Shaq, LA. Big motherfucker Shaq. That guy knew how to fucking play. He was a different breed of anything. Number 2, Bob Cousy and Bill Russell. Bill Russell, one of the greatest to ever do it. Guy played with tremendous heart. Different basketball game those years when they played. They can't even be really compared to the ball they play now and the rules, and but crazy athlete, hard-nosed basketball. You don't get to see it anymore. At number 1, I have Magic Johnson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So many championships, so many points scored, just crazy stats to go with them guys. Crazy. I got nothing else to say about it. But at my honorable mention, a crazy pick. I'm looking forward to him next year. DeAndre Ayton and Devin Booker. They were the stars of the bubble. I want to see Booker become that guy that he wants to be and get it done next year. And DeAndre Ayton was a great pick out of the draft 2 years ago. He's gassed. They're going to play well. Just wait for it. Go Suns. Ride Suns.
Hello there, General Kenobi. Sean here, also known as Melch, P or Squee. I'm here as a guest on this week's edition of Honorable Mention. Big shout out to Big Bleck and Riley. Big Rye, thanks for having me. Great guys. Rye Bread isn't in my top 5, but it gets an honorable mention. Anyways, truly an honor to be a part of Honorable Mention. So I guess I've been tasked with compiling a couple of ranked lists. The first one we're going to do is the top 5 female musical artists. I'm under the impression this is kind of more a preferential at your own discretion type list. So if I don't have some of your favorites or who you stand, please don't be offended. Great topic choice, by the way. Huge week for women with Senator Harris becoming the first female VP in U.S. history. Great stuff. So we're going to start with the name of the game. My first honorable mention will be Stevie Nicks. For those who don't know, she's a singer of Fleetwood Mac. I'm not a huge 70s guy, but Fleetwood Mac is pretty great. I think Stevie's vocals are what really makes them stand out. Another honorable mention I'll give is Alicia Keys. She has the voice of an angel. I have next to no musical talent, but if I had the ability to perform one song, it would probably be If I Ain't Got You. That shit hits your soul. She's got plenty of other hits too. She probably should be in my list, but I want to leave some space for a sleeper or two. Now on to the list. Coming in at 5, I have King Princess. She's a youngin', only 21 years old. I'm not sure how super well known she is, but her music is great. I'm a big fan. Her EP, Make My Bed, came out a couple years ago. It was one of my absolute favorites. I think it honestly was my most streamed album last year in 2019. Definitely would check her out if you're not hip to her music. Next at number 4, I've got Tierra Whack. She is, in my opinion, the freshest female rapper out there. Her song Unemployed goes hard as a bitch. She dropped her album Whack Roll back in 2018, and it really is one of the coolest hip-hop albums I've listened to. It's 15 songs that are only a minute each, and they're all very unique. It gets the highest stamp of approval I have to offer. So, I think I'm going to get some flack for this next one. I'm not even sure it qualifies for the list, but I don't really care. I've got Blackpink at number 3. If you haven't heard of them, then you better learn. They are the baddest K-pop group out. They released an album last month, and it's just a lot of fun. I never thought I'd find myself listening to K-pop, but these girls got me hooked. Then I've got Lorde coming in at number 2. Don't have too much to say about her. She's an icon, a pioneer, whatever you want to call her. She rips. And finally, to the number 1 spot, I can't help but give this to my girl Avril Lavigne. She really helped define the pop punk rock scene in the early 2000s, which was a really impactful era of music for me personally. She was dropping hit after hit, but the song I'm With You, that song just hits different. I'm sure some people have heard the conspiracy theory about her, saying that she died back in like 2005 and her record label supposedly replaced her with a lookalike. Kind of out there, and I don't really subscribe to conspiracy theories, so I'm just going to assume she's somewhere out there living her life, but definitely interesting nonetheless. So that wraps up my top 5 female musical artists. I'm not sure another person out there's list looks anything like mine, but that's why we're here, right? Now we're on to something a little more my speed, with the top 10 guard and big duos in NBA history. I'm a big fan of the NBA, so this was a fun one for me. The top of the list is a little bit harder to debate. I feel like you got a couple interchangeable ones at the top, and then towards the bottom of the list, it's kind of a free-for-all. So I'm actually going to start this in reverse order and start with the number 1 spot. So among all the shit that's happened this year, Kobe passing away might have hit me the hardest. Even as a Celtics fan, he lived and breathed the game of basketball, and it's hard not to respect his dedication. So with that, our top spot is taken by Shaq and Kobe. They truly defined the guard-big duo. I think that's the first one that comes to mind. They were so dominant together, and it's really a shame that their off-the-court troubles kind of pulled them apart. It's hard to imagine they wouldn't win more than 3 rings if it weren't for that. At number 2, I've got Magic and Kareem. These dudes won 5 rings together, and all of them after Kareem got his ass beat by Bruce Lee in A Game of Death. That dude was old, but You've got what a lot of people would consider to be the greatest center of all time with the greatest point guard of all time. If I was watching them back then, I'd probably say they're overrated and should win every year with their stacked-ass team. But whatever, 5 chips together is pretty hard to beat here. Big Lou Alcindor Kareem makes another appearance with his buddy Big O, Oscar Robertson. This pair only won 1 ring together, but it's kind of because Oscar was at the downturn of his career at that point. He barely even makes it past the too damn long ago for me to consider mark, but this duo is right near the top in terms of talent, so I'll put them at number 3. Next up at number 4, we've got the Logo, Jerry West and Wilt Chamberlain. They only got 1 ring back together in 1972, but Jerry was great. Probably the best guard in his era, only guy to win a finals MVP in a losing effort. He did have a lot of those, 8 finals losses to be exact. But the duo is really highlighted by Wilt. He's like a mythical creature. I'm not sure what's crazier, some of the stats they say he put up in games or the number of women he supposedly slept with. I don't really believe either of them, but that dude was built different for sure. So then next we got the clinical and fundamental duo of Tony Parker and Tim Duncan, TP and TD. A couple of my buddies actually used to call me TP because I had a cold-ass floater back in the day. I don't really know what happened to it. Anyways, they don't really stand out in pure talent, this duo. And some might give a lot of the credit to Greg Popovich with him being one of the greatest coaches in NBA history. But Duncan definitely needed to take a spot in here somewhere. The Spurs never won less than 50 games in a season with him, and they had 5 rings spread across 15 years. When you talk about dynasties, it's the Pats, the Spurs, and then everyone else. So then this next duo is the only one on my list to never win a ring together. It is the iconic Stockton and Malone duo. Both of those guys really define their positions and fall somewhere in the top 5 or 6 all time at their respective positions. Unfortunately for them, Jordan ran the 90s, maybe in another reality. Next, we've got the reigning NBA champions, LeBron and Anthony Davis. Yeah, we're calling LeBron a guard. You've got 2 absolute specimens who happen to be pretty damn good at basketball too. I don't think their team was even that good this year, but those 2 together were just too much to handle for the rest of the league. Nobody even really held a candle to them when they were rolling. At 8, we've got another appearance for Kobe with his boy Pau Gasol. Old Phil Jackson had them running the triangle offense just like his 90s Bulls teams, and they got a couple rings out of it. One of them against my Celtics, which was the most heartbreaking loss I've witnessed as a fan. The Celtics were rolling in the first half of Game 7. I thought they had it in the bag. I was texting my friends all excited, and next thing I know, I look up, the Lakers chipped away at the lead, and I'm sitting there stunned. And then Ron Artest made that 3-pointer. I could go the rest of my life without ever seeing that again. All right, so I'm going to squeeze the definition a little bit on this next one. Going back to LeBron, we're actually going to call him a big now because I don't know if we remember in his Miami Heat days, he was playing a lot of 4, a lot of post work from him. So we're pairing him here with D. Wade. That Heatles team was definitely something serious. They actually took part in the second most heartbreaking loss I witnessed as a Celtics fan, Game 6 of the 2012 Eastern Conference Finals. LeBron kicked the absolute shit out of us. That was fun to watch. So with that, LeBron and Wade have 2 rings. Probably should be 3 if LeBron didn't get outplayed by Jason Terry in 2011. And I would say this duo has the coldest photo taken in NBA history. Finally, at number 10, I can't help but throw in Steph Curry and Draymond Green. These 2 really put their stamp on the modern NBA. Steph has absolutely annihilated just about any 3-point record to ever exist. I think it's safe to say he's the best of all time at this point in terms of 3-point shooting. While Draymond really redefined the NBA big and where they asked them to guard guys from the rim to the perimeter, and he was the first one to truly be able to do that at an elite level. They also have a few rings and the best regular season record of all time to boot, although they fell short of that year to the King. And Now on to honorable mentions. I'm going to start with Bob Cousy and Bill Russell. Some people might disagree with them not being in the top 10 with how much success they saw, but I'm not putting a dude who consistently dribbled with one hand and a dude who never averaged 20 points and never shot over 50% in his career in my top 10 duos. And finally, I'd like to mention Manu and Duncan. They're not too far off from Tony Parker and Duncan, who I have at 4, but I'd say Tony Parker was a little more impactful throughout that era. But for real, Manu's got to be one of the most underrated players of all time. He was so slick and crafty. So that wraps up my lists then. This was a pretty fun exercise. Once again, an honor to be the first guest featured on Honorable Mention. Hey, you guys keep doing your thing, and thanks for having me. Signing off, P-Man.